Hello, Elise again from Miss McKenna's Light Beverage, and today I'm doing part 3 of the Dutch door tutorials, and it's the final one in the spread. I'll link parts 1 and 2 down in the description if you haven't seen those already. In the last 2 videos I took you through the first 4 spreads and how to create them, which was this one here, and this one, and this one. And I gave you all the measurements as we plan them all through, so it's easier for you to try and work out which ones are which and everything. So in today's video I'm going to take you through my final Dutch door spreads. I might make some more at some point because I'm so in love with them. They're so handy, they keep me on track, and I'm just really enjoying using my planner with them. So I'll probably design some more at some point, but for now this is the final one in this series, and let's get started. So here's where we got to in the last video. So I'm going to turn the page for a fresh week and we are going to begin. Now, as usual, we're going to start by cutting all our Dutch doors out. So here I've got, how many squares across is this one? So this page is 13 across. And I'm going to cut off this piece again along the bottom, and I'm lining that up with all the other weeks we've cut. So that's our first one. So we're going to start cutting our daily tabs out. So I'm going to work out how many it is across, and it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. 18 across. So that's where our page is going to finish. And we're going to cut this bottom piece off again. Now you don't want to cut yet because you want to put your tabs in. Each tab is going to take up sort of 5 squares. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what we want there. So that's going to be sort of the space for your first tab. Now you could leave them in this sort of squared shape, but I cut off the edges to make them sort of that triangular shape. So we're going to cut that one out first, and then we'll work out the next one, because it's easier to work them out as you go rather than trying to do each page individually. It's not 5, it's 4. It's 4. So we're going to get rid of that bit. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. There, and then I'll triangle off. Sorry, not 5, 4. You could do 5, that's why it's thrown me off, because I did the extra square in my May plan with me because I preferred having the bigger tab, but this way you can leave an extra gap between, so it depends, it's all personal preference. So there we have our first tab, and we are going to work out, I'm going to draw around it just for now so that you can see where it finishes. So that's our first tab. Now the second tab down, we're leaving 2 spaces, and then we've got our 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it is 5. What's going on here? What's happening? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay. Okay. It's because this one, I didn't count that top square as the corner to cut off. That's why. So you would pretend it would be 5 squares if you included that one at the top. Ah, I thought I was going mad. Okay. So it is 5 squares. So we're going to have 1, 2 down, 1, 2, and then 5 squares down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to be our tab. You know it's going to finish down along here and there. So that gives us where that page is going to be cut. And then, as I said before, you can cut off the corners if you so wish. Now, as you get to cutting these out, it can get a little bit tricky because you can start bending the pages as you're trying to get into the corners. So it's best to actually just cut the page up a bit more, just to make it easier for you to access where you want to go. And then that way you're not sort of scrunching up the pages to get your scissors round them. Like now, rather than going from this side where I'd have to bend all this page, I'm going to go from this side. And then cut that piece off. So now you have 2 tabs. We're just going to repeat that each time. So 1, 2 squares down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in. So that's where that's going to finish. Going to come up here. So there you have your next tab. So we now have 1, 2, 3 tabs. And you might find that depending on how your book is printed, you might have to trim down the first couple of pages a little bit so that you can get to your other tabs, like this one. It's tricky for you to see, but it's not as prominent as the others. But if I was to trim these pages down just a little, up here, it's just giving me that little bit of extra space, which means there's more space to grab and more space to write the day of the week on. And we want 1, 2, 3, so we only want the 3 tabs that we've cut out, because the Sunday tab is actually part of this page. I've just drawn it in here. So we can do that here. 1, 2, down, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then you would get your pen and draw it in. So we've got our tabs here, and we will put in our different boxes like I've laid them out here, but I wanted to show you, because in my May spread I did it slightly differently, and I will show you how. So like here, I've split my notes into to-do and notes because I find it easier to differentiate which ones are which, and then I don't sort of miss a to-do by mistaking it to be a note. And I made the first page wider because I wanted to try a different type of sleep and activity log, and I used these spaces down here rather for tracking and things. I use them for colour coding things. I did start using that as a shopping list, but I needed more space for colour coding. So I've got my colour coding here. So you can change things, it's very flexible. That's why I like it. And then I've got my food log on the back, and personally I prefer it to this one because this one is thinner. I tend to snack on a lot of crap basically. I've just had Jaffa cakes so I needed more space to be able to write in my food log, so I've done it that way. What I might do, I don't know, I was trying to decide whether or not I liked being able to see this straight away, and I think I do. If you don't want to see all the different colours and everything, if you were planning on doing a sleep and activity log like this, you could put it in the back and cut your Sunday page out and do the tab. And like here, like I've said, I've done bigger tabs on these ones, so you can play around with it and just sort of see what works. If you do it all in pencil, if it doesn't turn out right, you can rub it off, but once you've cut the pages, you're kind of screwed if you've got it wrong. So if you have like a spare notebook or one that you haven't used, or spaces in an old one, so like with this book, this is actually my experimental book for different layouts and things. Might be a bit excessive, but I like my actual journal to be right, so I have a backup to sort of play around and do different layouts and things. And I think it's worth it, because next time you go into another book, if you keep having to change your books when you grow out of it, or you need to start a new one because you've run out of space, you've got all your your old layouts and things sort of in here to show you how to lay it out properly and give you more ideas or refresh your memory. So it just makes it easier to set up the next lot. So I do suggest getting a sort of spare journal to play with layouts and different things, so that you can, when you do come into your proper one, you've got lots of different things to play with. But yes, that's how I changed this one up a little bit. So like I say, you can vary things. But I'm going to show you how I did this one, and then if you want to sort of tweak it and change it, you can. So we're going to carry on with this layout now. I'm going to start by working out this side one here. 1, 2, 3 squares down, and we are 2, 4, 6, 8 across, like in the other one. So 3 squares down, and 2, 4, 6, 8 across, which is there. And we're going to come all the way to the bottom. Actually, we're not coming all the way to the bottom, are we? Oh, look. Oh, that's why. Oh, what am I doing wrong today? This is just... Okay, so I've actually given myself too much space down here. This page, it's hard to explain. This page should be lining up with that one there, but it's 1 square longer. So I'm going to have to cut this piece off, and you're just going to have to pretend that I didn't draw that line in there and just imagine that it lines up properly. But I'm going to cut these down. Okay, so now I've cut them to the actual sizes they should be. This line would be up a bit further. It's because when I cut this page here, I cut it 1 square too low. So now we're on track. This is why it's good to have a scrap one that you're planning in case you mess it up. You learn a lot, actually. I've learned a lot from doing this, because I'm remembering different mistakes and things I've made and learning each time. So it's good to play around and try new things. And if you do make a mistake, don't worry about it, especially if you're in a scrapbook. So you'll learn how to put it right in your actual book. Waffling again. Okay, so you'll come to 1 square once we've got this box in properly and we've cut our pages down to the right size. It's 1 square up from the bottom. And each day has 4 slots each, 4 squares each. So we've got our 7 days, and they are all 8 by 4, and we're 3 squares down. And to create the notes space, I've just sort of filled in whatever space I had left. So it would be down here. And I've left 1 square border. If you wanted to change it like I did in my other book, so that you've got notes and to-dos, you would just split this in half. So work out where your halfway line is. So these boxes are So these boxes are 31. Half of 31 is 15 and a half. So 15 and a half is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and a half, which is there. So you could work out from that, if you wanted to have your border in between, you would just split it with a line above and below. So then you've split it into your two boxes. So for the food log, I would probably just do it not like I have here. I'd do my 3 down, 1, 2, 3, and I would make it wider than I did previously, because it will give you extra space to write what you're eating. If you're snacking on rubbish like I am and you're trying to get out of the habit. And what I did in this book was use, you know, 1 square of each box to name the days, whereas in this one I didn't bother, because I know what day I'm on. It's easy to tell because it lines up, because I've got it on the back here, it lines up with this weekly box, so I can see which day it is. And I mean, you only have to count if you really if you really are struggling, but it meant I have an extra space for snacks if you don't put the if you don't do it as the Monday Tuesday bit there. So yeah, that's why, one of the reasons I put my food log on the back rather than the front. Now, of course, if you wanted to be really fancy and you wanted to have a daily tracker, something that you use every day, you've got such a lot of space here that I'm using for appointments and possibly notes, to-dos, that sort of thing, and then a bit of space at the bottom to journal. But because it's quite a big space, if you wanted to, you'd probably have enough space to track something every day as well. So not just something you're tracking weekly, but something you're tracking daily. So it gives you a lot of flexibility having the extra space. And I have found that because I have it all laid out so easily in front of me, I am using it a lot more, and I'm more on the ball with things because I can see everything at a glance. It's so easy to access everything I need, and it's keeping me up to date. And what I didn't mention in my May plan with me is that down here, that I can see all through the month, it doesn't matter where I am in the week, I can see this extra piece here. And it's got all the things that I try and remember to do sort of daily when I'm planning, at the beginning of the day or the end of the day. So I've written, I mean, in this one I use that space to put what month I'm in, which helps, I mean, if you want to know where you are in the year. But I found that having it done this way means I'm more productive, because it reminds me every single day of what I want to fill in. So I'm staying on the ball, I'm remembering to migrate my tasks, fill in my sleep tracking, my food log, my daily goals, my gratitudes, my appointments, if I have to call or text someone, my to-do tasks, my habit, my mood tracking, and my work goals. It's all here. So if I sort of have a bit of a brain foggy day from my fibro and I'm thinking, oh wait, what am I supposed to be tracking? What am I planning? I can just go to here and it's always there, so it keeps me on track. So that's a good tip as well, if you're anything like me and you're a bit fuzzy. So I did it this way so that I had 7 p.m. till 6. 7 p.m. one night to 6 p.m. the next night, because I was trying to work out the best ways to track my sleep in a way that I can see it visually easily, rather than having it split top and bottom. They'd all sort of be in together in the middle. But it's up to you how you lay it out, and if you even want to use it as a sleep log. But I'm not going to tell you how to lay out this or what sizing, because that's not a definite sort of measurement for anything. I just sort of winged it with this one. So feel free to use that space however you like. And then with, of course, I love my little mini calendar. I like having it at the top here. And this one is obviously 7 across and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. And that's why I made these dailies the width I did, because I want to be able to see this mini calendar easily, but I don't want to waste too much space. So I made it so that the tabs come just to the side. I've just got a 1 square gap, and then I can see. If it was any further over, it would cover up my mini monthly, and if it was any further this way, I'd have more wasted space here that I can be using. So that's what made me choose the width of these boxes. There is a method to my madness. And then here I had, basically I just made sure I had enough space for 7 days down, and 1, 2, 3 squares up for the sort of titles of whatever these boxes were. But you wouldn't have to use it that way. Like I've said, you can change it up. Like in my other one, what I would do next time is just do one long box to put all the different colours that I'm tracking for my different habits and things. But if you want to track your steps or your fitness or anything else like that, you could use 2 extra ones like this. So I'll give you the measurements for these boxes. We are 1, 2 squares down, 1, 2 across. Then we've got the 1, 2, 3 for the title, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Across there. And then 2 squares down again, 1, 2. And it was 1 up from the bottom here. Actually, it was 2 up from the bottom here, because what I've actually done to give myself a bit more space, when I outline the boxes, this is where the information actually is, but when I do the border, I'll sort of do it slightly above or below the lines like this, and then it gives me that bit of extra space to write in. So like here, you can, I don't know if you can see, but they're not actually on the squares, they're just slightly around the edges of them, so it gives me that bit of extra space. And it's the same with the monthly calendar. And then of course, when you've finally got your whole month planned out, you can finish your mini monthly tracker at the bottom. So there we have our final measurements for that page, or for this weekly spread. So when you've finished, you'll end up with something like that. I suggest you just play about with different layouts and cater it to your needs. You might not need a sleep log, or you might not need a food log, you might need something else. So sort of play around with it and make it your own to suit your needs, because they're so flexible. And you know, you don't have to get it right first time. You might find that one week it's not quite working for you, and you'll tweak it. So let yourself experiment with how you're laying things out. And as I say, if you have a book to practice in, it doesn't matter if you get it wrong. So that's the end of this series, this mini series with the Dutch doors, with these 5 different spreads. Because I'm enjoying using them so much, I probably will keep testing out new layouts and trying different things. So if I do come up with, you know, a group of new ones, I'll probably do another tutorial like this if that's something you're interested in. I will say that this isn't for everyone. A lot of people won't like having to cut out so many pages. That's fine. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But I find that the pros outweigh the cons in that I just feel more productive. I enjoy using my planner more. It's just more fun. I feel more creative and I stay on top of things. So for me, it's a winner. And I hope this helps all of you, and I hope you've enjoyed this series. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. and I'll see you for the next plan with me. Bye!